our liberty-minded people is Mountain Man Jim Isley with the crowd microphone. Jim, do the jumping jack so I can see where you are now.
You're not going to be able to see me this time, Bill.
You're that far away. Are you on the other side of the crest of the hill?
I'm actually to your right over here in the woods.
In the woods to our... I got you. All right, there he is. Oh, stage no to your left, folks. What you got?
How many folks out here have ever heard of Red Nation Rising? Red Nation Rising started as a hashtag on Twitter, election night 2012. Red Nation Rising is now throughout the United States of America, and we have an individual here today that represents North Carolina. She was hiding. She didn't want to come on stage, but I found her, and she's going to speak now. What's your name?
Shannon Prouty.
And tell me a little bit about Red Nation Rising.
Red Nation Rising is a grassroots organization, and we have been reaching out into the political field and trying to just, get this country turned around and take America back. And that's what we've been doing. We work with Ted Cruz and a bunch of politicians, and we just do everything we can. We go to overpasses for impeachment. We go to the tea parties, and we have all kinds of stuff that we're doing to try to take America back.
Well, I know we certainly appreciate all that Red Nation Rising does. If we wanted to get in touch with you and learn a little more about the organization and maybe help out, how would we do that?
Red Nation Rising on Facebook.
Thank you very much. And back to you, Bill.
Give Red Nation Rising a round of applause. That's how it works. Right here, making it real. The man that's been helping out today in ways that you cannot even know. The man goes literally all over the state with his heart leading. And he brings an equipment truck and a trailer and a wife named Joanne that is an incredible helpmate. He also is a patriot at heart, a military veteran, and he would like to talk to you just a little bit about God and country. Please welcome my friend, Major Dave.
Thank you. I am an American citizen.
Amen.
Consider for a moment the power of that simple statement. The good Lord blessed each and every one of us to either be born in this country or to have found our way here. And as we stand here today to celebrate the Constitution, I want to pause for a moment and mention something from our state constitution in North Carolina. It's Article 1, Section 12, and it describes the right of public assembly and why we come together today. And it says that we are empowered by our Creator with that right of assembly, peacefully, to consult with each other for the common good, and to instruct our representatives. We are their bosses. They are not listening to us. Can you hear us now? So much of the discussion these days is divided between the proper roles of religion and politics. And I'm part of a generation that was raised to believe the two things you don't talk about in public are religion and politics. And heaven forbid if you use them in the same sentence. And yet, folks, we would not have the republic we have today if our founders had not talked about religion and politics. And I submit to you that we cannot keep it unless we restore the proper place in the public dialogue of religion and politics. I ask people, if you encounter someone on the side of the road and you feel a moral obligation to help them, to reach out and assist them, what does that have to do with our form of government, our Constitution, or our laws? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Because there is that higher law to which our forefathers recognized that we are all bound. That law guided them between our revolution and independence and the time when we actually established the Constitution. And if you read the Constitution, all it says is we want a government that ensures that we can still live according to our conscience. Because ultimately we are the conscience of the nation. The Constitution doesn't tell us what's the right thing to do. And that's why those higher laws are important. I can't quote you chapter and verse, but I know that in the Bible it says, Lord, here I am, send me. When our nation has been faced with peril, men and women from across this country have stood up to answer the call to join our military. In their own way, did they not each say, here I am, send me. The time may well be coming in this country when the call will go out for those of us to stand up and take our place in those ranks. I noted recently that when you think about the actual defense of this nation, defense of our state, defense of our county, how defensible are we? The North Carolina National Guard has about 12,000 troops. And that includes cooks and mechanics, not just combat fighters. You divide that by 100 counties, and you have 120 troops. And if they work 12-hour shifts with no days off, that is at the most 60 troops per county. Does that make you feel comfortable and secure? That's why it is important that we restore the sense of community. And you begin with your own neighborhood and your own precinct. Just as they say, all politics is local. So was the original defense of this country in the fight for liberty. The great thing about events like this today is you look around from one side to the other. I take great comfort because it tells me we are not alone. We stand with each other. We may not know each other, but we stand with each other shoulder to shoulder. No single shot wins the war. Every shot counts. And it's our job to make it count. I enjoy traveling the state with my wife, and we do this throughout the year, from the mountains to the coast, supporting events like this. Why? Because you make a difference. You have changed the nature of the dialogue in North Carolina regarding politics. We turned this state red in 2010, and if we stay together, we can keep it red. One of the biggest ways in which our Constitution is being eroded is getting us to work against our own best interest. Obamacare is a prime example. There is no right to health care in the Constitution. In fact, for most of our history, the primary provider was not even a doctor. It was the mother. So there's no right to health care. But it is telling us how much our liberty in this country is really worth to us, because some people are selling out their liberty for the price of cheap insurance. There are ways we can help our neighbor that do not require such. But I think about Obamacare in an even different way, and that's the real crux of my message today, that blends God and country. Those 10 commandments from our good Lord are inscribed into the stone of the Supreme Court. Surrounding the walls of the House of Representatives, the People's House, are portraits of great leaders, and they are all in profile except that of Moses. And Moses' picture hangs full face over the main entrance of the People's House. And one of those 10 commandments says, "Thou shalt not covet." It is wrong to desire that which your neighbor has. So how does it become permissible to use the power of government to do our coveting for us? If I can't afford my health insurance, I'll just get government to go over and reach in your wallet and take some of your money so that I can afford health insurance. We play mind games with ourselves when we begin to justify such things, because the Lord's law is not quite so flexible. In fact, I think it's quite clear, and that's why those 10 commandments were stated in such few words. The people who founded this country did so with a strong sense of a higher power and a creator over us. I believe I can honestly say that for most of you here today, you believe the same way. The American Legion is a veterans fraternal organization, and I'm not speaking for them, just about them. But the first 8 words in their preamble to their Constitution says, "For God and country, we associate ourselves together." I believe and I hope that today we are likewise gathered for God and country. What is your role? That is between you and your God, you and your neighbor. But seek it out and be prepared. Because I ask you, are you ready to stand up and say, "Here I am, send me"? I thank you all for doing your part. These rallies are great because, again, they remind us we are not alone. And the fellowship and the friendship that I have developed with each of you means more to me than I could ever express. If you're Facebook friends and we haven't met in person, please come by the tent and introduce yourself. It's a great opportunity. This is your day. You have made it great. We got more people here at 1 o'clock than we had all day last year. Those of you who reached out to your friends, thank you so much. We're going to keep talking about God and country. We're going to keep talking about taking our nation back. And we're going to keep talking about taking our state back and keeping it, because our children and grandchildren are depending on us. Don't let them down.
Major Dave, a patriot extraordinaire.